Okay, good morning everyone. I've been away for a while. I had a bit of traveling, so I haven't been making many videos recently, but I've been working on some cars, some remotely, some hands-on. Today I have a 2000 Jeep Commander. There are two main complaints from the client. One, check engine light comes on. The second one is it goes into fail-safe mode. It doesn't do that initially after start, but after driving for a short while, I think when it warms up, it goes into fail-safe mode. So that's what I'm here to find out, what is causing that. It's a 2007 Jeep Commander. This is raw. I've just plugged the diagnostic machine into the vehicle, so I'm going to switch it on. I'm going to use the Maxcom on this one. I like it because it does a quick scan of the entire vehicle very quickly, and I like to get the big picture of the whole vehicle. Right now, because they are saying it's going into fail-safe mode and it has a check engine light, I'm not just going to look at the engine and basically the powertrain, engine and transmission modules. I'm going to look at all the modules together. I've got the key on already. So this is a Jeep let me see if it can ID this vehicle automatically. It's 2007, it should. Yeah, it has recognized the VIN number. Say okay. Yes. Straight into diagnostics. I want to do an entire scan, the scan for the entire vehicle. There are 3 faults in the powertrain control module. I think this one combines both the engine and transmission control into the. There's a fault in the mechanical instrument cluster. Parktronics is going through them very quickly. I think you can see why I like it. Wow. There are faults everywhere. So that looks like it is done. There are faults in the powertrain control module, ABS, instrument cluster, Parktronics, radio, final drive control, that must be the transfer case, power lift gate module. So the tailgate on this one is controlled by some module, so it's automated in operation. Let's display the DTCs. Okay, oxygen sensor codes in the engine control module, and also a stored code for the LR solenoid circuit that would relate to the gearbox, the transmission, and another one, battery system voltage low. I think either the alternator or the battery on this vehicle may be not good. I want to have a look at the freeze frame data. When did this happen? When the odometer was reading that, how come it is showing that here on the instrument cluster? It is showing us 121842. Has this instrument cluster been tampered with previously? I have no idea. There isn't much useful information it is giving beyond the odometer reading, which, and also showing that it is indicating the check engine light to be on. Okay. So, right, just back out of there. Didn't get much information from that. Let me see this. I think this happened at the same time. Uh, 157.126. Okay, this one happened later. They didn't happen at exactly the same time. I'll step out of that. Going to, apart from the solenoid fault code, I don't think the oxygen sensor and low battery voltage would cause fail-safe driving, but let's see. Okay, right front wheel speed sensor circuit. Okay, interesting. What is in the mechanical instrument cluster? Reset switch stuck. Which reset switch? For this? Where would that be? But I think even then that wouldn't be, that wouldn't cause fail-safe mode. But I can't see the switch for, usually there's one for, oh, it could be the switch here. There's one here for cruise control. This is also for cruise control. There's one here probably for the radio over there. Anyway, I'll come back to that. I don't want to be distracted at this moment. Parktronics. A number of Parktronic sensor circuit codes. All 6 of them seem to be having issues. I don't think the chances of that happening, all of them going bad at the same time, are very, very low. So I think this could have been a general power source or ground failure. I'll come back to that, and it could have been resolved already, but I'll come back to that later if I get time. Today the vehicle is here to try to deal with the fail-safe driving. I'm having CAN B bus codes, lost communication with the SRS module, park assist, air conditioning, passenger door. All these codes are on the CAN B side. CAN C, I believe, on these vehicles is for the higher speed network, for the drivetrain, instrument cluster, and all the other guys. But for the lower speed, it is CAN B, which at some point seems to have had issues, and that is the radio talking about that. Control module transfer case, range switch circuit low, neutral indicator circuit low, transfer case, differential, clutch worn, implausible data received from ABS. So this could also be an indicator of problems happening on the CAN C side of the network. This one seems to agree with this. So in that case, that means this happened about 400 kilometers ago. These codes all seem to have happened at the same time. They all happened at the same time, so I'm sure there's just one thing that triggered them. Oh, this one happened way before. Clutch one. Okay. This I'm not really concerned about. I'm just having a look at the codes just for kicks. Power lift gate close, direction. That's not why I'm here. No, I don't want to. I need to save these codes. I'm going to save them and then get back. I don't want to make this video too long. Now I've started running the engine. I haven't even moved out of the parking slot where I found the vehicle, but already I'm seeing some issues. Already it's saying the gearbox is in limp mode. The display, yes, it is showing fourth gear, and here I'm in D. It's saying the same thing there. However, in D, ideally, before I start moving off, it should be in gear 1, but it isn't. Present gear is neutral, and even target gear is neutral. So that is a bit puzzling. I'm going to drive it anyway before. Well, I think it has already warmed up enough. I've been running the engine for about 5 minutes. I'm just going to confirm the customer's complaint that it is in fail-safe mode. Already, the scan tool is telling me it is in limp mode, but I need to zero down on where this issue is. Okay, the test drive is underway. I've done just only 400 meters so far, but this is puzzling because you can see the gear stick is in D, and the request display request is to be in fourth gear. If I put it in neutral, this is correct. I put it in reverse, and you can see it there, and that is park. However, so this means the data you're seeing here is correct. However, look at what happened down here. I put it in reverse, it remains in neutral apparently, according to the data. That is fully neutral, and even that is neutral. So I don't understand how it can recognize the instructions coming from the PRNDL switch, but fail to relay that information correctly, or to at least react accordingly. What I decided to do also is to have a look at, to go into the powertrain control module and have a look at the line pressure, the actual sensor voltage as received by the transmission control module, the actual line pressure, and the desired line pressure. Now the weird thing is, it's now in drive. I'm going to put it in neutral. The blue line is the line pressure sensor reading, which I will verify with the multimeter or oscilloscope. Once I'm back at the workshop, I'll try to verify that. But I'm also looking at the actual line pressure and the desired line pressure. Now, at least the desired line pressure can't be 0. And the actual line pressure shouldn't be 0 based on the signal that is already arriving, supposedly arriving at the powertrain control module. So this seems to be weird stuff. The computer seems to be receiving a signal, but it is either not calculating, it is not calculating or displaying the desired line pressure. Sorry about that. Or neither is it displaying the actual line pressure. I wanted to see the discrepancy between these two. There is no discrepancy, but they shouldn't be 0. Not when the vehicle is moving. I'm going to try to move off. Actually, when I put that is D, rather reverse, that is park, that is neutral, that is D. It seems like when you put it in drive or reverse, the pressure falls and then it is built up by the combination of the pump and the solenoid that controls the line pressure. And once I begin moving off, like I am now, you see it goes high, it reaches 2.3 volts. I need to test the voltage on this sensor wire, but I believe the voltages it is showing me here. But have a look. We are driving, but there is no indication of actual or line pressure readings. So instantly, right now, the only thing I can think of is this powertrain control module is having issues with this. Now, my plan is, because I found this vehicle already warmed up, my plan is to let this vehicle cool down so that it behaves normally, and then I come back and read this information again to see if it changes. And while I'm doing that, when I park the vehicle, I also want to have a look at the engine control module and see where it lives.
Hello? Hello?
So now I decided to go into the instrument cluster module to see, to try to find some data, to find a link between the issues I'm seeing. Now the engine coolant temperature is reading 93. I can hear the cooling fans are on right now. It was showing something like 100 before. And the vehicle speed is 0. I haven't moved yet, so I'm going to find out once I begin driving off if that changes. But the throttle pedal position, I'm going to step on it. Yeah, you can see actually, oh, that data is correct, coming from the engine or the powertrain control module to the instrument cluster, and that data is relayed on the CAN-C network, I believe, and then the mail request is true, so that's why it's turning it on. And this, when I change the gear from drive to neutral, you see it changes. That should be reverse, that should be P. So basically this doesn't look like an input problem for the transmission control module, because it knows the vehicle speed from the ABS module, it knows the engine coolant temperature, all that. So we are good all the way up here. The network is good between the powertrain control module, the ABS module, and the instrument cluster, which are all on the CAN-C network. So this has to be an issue internal to the transmission control system. Now I'm I'm starting up, but this thing is really sluggish. It's in fail-safe mode. I'm going to climb a steep, to try to climb a steep hill, basically to confirm that it is in fail-safe mode. I'm sure it is already, I can feel it. It is probably stuck in gear number 3. Apologies for the shaking camera, but I'm one-handed here. This is Luzira Industrial Park. And after making that left turn, there is a steep incline, and this is one place I normally test vehicles for strength. I've stopped, came to 0, and now that is foot all the way down. This thing is going nowhere. It's going nowhere. You can see from the throttle position that I've opened it up all the way to 98%, but this vehicle is going nowhere. So it is definitely in third gear. The ABS control module, remember, it had a fault code for one of the front sensors. I think it was left front speed sensor, showing that it wasn't functional. But as you can see from this, that sensor is functional. Because I had to go through this sharp turn again. I'm going up the hill. Remember that hill? Hello? But as you can see from this, all the sensors
super.
All the sensors are giving plausible data. So maybe this was disconnected and reconnected when maybe the sensor was disconnected and reconnected with the key in the on position. But you can see clearly that this sensor is following all the others, so we don't have any issue with that. I'm just going back to the workshop now to let this vehicle cool down and see if it can get out of the transmission can get out of fail-safe mode. Now, while waiting for the engine to cool down, or the engine room to cool down, I decided to go into the final drive control module. Remember, it also had 3 codes, which were these: transfer case range switch circuit low, neutral indicator control circuit low, and implausible data received from ABS module. And these 2 seem to be active. So it seems there are issues with the transfer case, and I'm not sure of the protocol. What happens when the transfer case module gets these codes and they're active? Does it send a message to on the CAN bus, on the CAN C bus, to the transmission control module to go into limp home? If so, I would expect the powertrain control module to say something about it, but that may not be the case. But these could still be very important issues to investigate, because if the transfer case doesn't know whether it is in neutral or not, and the range, I assume this is a switch for 4-wheel drive. I want to go into data and see if I see anything related to, see, 5 volt supply voltage is there. Transfer case position sensor voltage. There seems to be some voltage there. I don't know what that means. What that voltage means. What position it should be in. Transfer motor current. This is 0, so probably there is no change required for the module to move the transfer, to switch the transfer case between neutral probably and 4-wheel drive or 4H4L. I'm yet to find out what 4-wheel drive range switch voltage. That seems to be 0. I don't know whether that's okay or it's bad. Neutral LED actual state is off. Watch LED. Is this supposed to be here? Says CAN is on live. Let me try to run the engine and see if that changes. Okay, that seems to change status. The wheel speeds are all fine. Brake operated, yes, I have my foot on it. I've just taken it off. I don't know what that means, but it could be important. Oh, check what this switch is displaying. I'm changing between, should be in reverse now. Yes, it is reading reverse, neutral, and 4th gear. So that information is relayed properly on the CAN-C network. Steering angle, yeah, that changes. You can see it is flipping about. Ambient air temperature seems to be a little high, but plausible. Engine coolant temperature still too high, and look at the transmission fluid temperature. It's even in red. That shows, wow. I'm not sure it means the transmission is that hot. It can't be, because it is cooled. Even the engine coolant will be hot. What I'm thinking is that sensor is bad. Transmission fluid temperature. That sensor is bad. Oh, no, the sensor may not be bad, but it's probably shorted to ground to read all the way high. Let me try to change. I want to see if this changes. I'm in neutral now, as you can see. From there, crank the engine, put it in D, as engaged, and that remains in neutral. So we still have an issue there. The powertrain control module. I don't know what those mean, whether they are good or bad. Let me see, run the engine and see any discrepancies there. The number is not changing. These numbers, I expected to see some change on them. And actually now the shifting is harsh. The shifting of the transmission is quite harsh. Transfer case service indicator request true, is it? I don't know whether that is Portuguese or Spanish. Maybe it is talking about maintenance, service, blah blah blah. Transfer case shift inhibited, not set. So ideally the transfer case shouldn't be in failsafe. Wow, this is too much information to process. Basically I want to let this engine cool down and have a look at the data when it is behaving normally, when the transmission is behaving normally. Now I went searching for information on the system, on the layout of the system. So what I've done, I went and dug out the wiring schematic for the transmission system on this vehicle. Remember it had the code P0750 for RL, that is something reverse, linear reverse, something solenoid circuit. I just wanted to rule out that solenoid is not open. It's possible to do it by taking the valve body off the transmission, but that's a longer process. Looking at the wiring diagram, I think I can test that at the powertrain control module, because it's much easier to access, and you can see the powertrain control module there. And if I continue down, these are actually the solenoids, or at least some of them, and we have the LR solenoid here. It connects to the power. This is the solenoid. It connects to the module on connector C4 pin 10, and it gets power like all the other solenoids from the transmission control solenoid up here, like that. So I want to pin here, and this is the transmission control solenoid assembly in the valve body. I want to check for the continuity of this thing, of this solenoid, from this connection up here and this one here. And also it had a pair of codes that worried me in the transfer case. There was one called the neutral indicator control circuit low. It was saying it was low, and then there was the transfer range select switch circuit. Now when I scroll down, the circuit for this module, final drive module, is included here, and I can see on this page, there's a page here. First of all, there are 7 wires we've already identified at the transfer case. There are 7 of them, and we have them here. Initially I thought this is where the issue was, but when you look at where they are going to the final drive control module, when you go up here, was it up here? Yes, I think further up. This one, switch transfer case selector. Now, you see these two wires going to the final drive control module. They are coming from the transfer case selector, and one is mode select and the other is four-wheel drive neutral indicator. And the codes we had were for neutral indicator control circuit low and transfer case range switch, which would be mode select. So on the vehicle, I've seen a funny switch. This one. I understand there was a guy at a workshop that this vehicle went to earlier. He took this thing out, this gear selector out. I have a feeling he touched this, maybe he didn't repin the socket. So this is supposed to indicate these lamps, I think, are supposed to show when the four-wheel drive is in the neutral position, and two, depending. It's funny here, I don't know if that is all the switch does. You know, you just do that. I think there is one. I think you have only one switch, and the other is supposed just to light up to indicate that the transmission is in neutral. So I don't think that would, even if those were disconnected, I don't think those would cause the transmission to go into failsafe, but I'll have to look into having them reconnected. You see those two wires? This is the switch that I was touching. I'm surprised it has so many wires, 6 of them, and one going to the panel to get power from the fuse box, and also from the ignition switch. Somehow I think it needs the 5-volt supply and a ground to select this, and it needs this fuse ignition power to turn on the indicator, to turn on the lamp. And also while that is happening, it signals the final drive control module about this. And these codes, the codes for these circuits are appearing together. So I have a feeling one of these two sockets, not likely here, but this one and this one, or this one, because this is one socket, this is another junction, another one, one socket, another connect, and another one. So the chances are that they were disconnected at some point because someone was playing in there. So, and I don't have much time today. I will leave most of this to Derek. So what I'm going to do is at least check the LR, try to trace down the LR solenoid circuit, make sure this thing is not open, because we had a code for that. Wait, that LR solenoid is here. I want to check that, make sure I'm not going to bother with the others because there are no fault codes for that, but you've got P0750 LR solenoid circuit. So I want to prove that that's not broken, it's not open. At least if it isn't, then it means there's probably the transmission fluid is not moving the way it should through the system. Maybe it's being blocked, maybe it's dirty, maybe there's something going on, and that may turn out to be a mechanical issue. So let me look up this connector here. Okay, remember this solenoid that is throwing the fault code is on pin number 10, connector C4. So if we go back to the vehicle, this is connector C4, the green one, and pin number 10 is this last one. I've got the multimeter here set already to checking resistance or continuity. So when I pin it in, take a car.
So George does this.
So this is pin number 10 and you can see it's open. And I said earlier I wasn't going to check the other wires for the switches and for the solenoid, but I went ahead to prove that all these others are